Hello everyone, welcome back to Mama in the Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make spinach pies using the 10-minute dough. So I'm going to be showing you the ingredients for the 10-minute dough. You're going to need 5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. And then you're also going to need about 2 tablespoons of sugar, half a cup of canola oil, 1 cup of warm water. You have to make sure it's lukewarm, not too hot and not cold. And also 1 cup of warm milk. And now we're going to go ahead and get started. So in a bowl, you're going to be adding the warm milk, the warm water, and then you're going to be adding the sugar, and also we're going to be adding the active dry yeast. After adding the active dry yeast, you're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we're going to be mixing everything in together very well. After mixing everything together for a few minutes, you're going to go ahead and cover it with saran wrap and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And this is what it would look like after about 10 minutes of resting, and now we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to be adding half a cup of canola oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and we're going to mix everything together. You're going to go ahead and add the remaining flour, which is about 3 cups. So you're going to be adding 1 cup at a time. You're going to slowly add it in and just keep mixing. Once it gets to this thickness while you're adding the flour, you're going to go ahead and start mixing it in with your hands. So you're kind of going to be kneading it in until it's all well blended. So you're going to be kneading it in while adding the flour for about 45 minutes. This is what it would look like after kneading it in for about 4 to 5 minutes, and now we're going to cover it with aluminum foil and let it rest for another 15 to 20 minutes. And this is what the dough will look like after 20 minutes of resting. And now we're going to go ahead and make the dough into little balls. So over here I have a tray with some flour on it, and we're also going to be drizzling the dough with some olive oil so it's easier to work with. And then we're going to be making them into balls and placing it on the tray. And once we're done making the dough into little balls, we're going to let it rest for about 15 minutes. Okay, and now while waiting on the dough, we're going to go ahead and make the spinach mixture. For the spinach mixture, what you're going to need is 40 ounces of pre-washed spinach, half a cup of olive oil, and then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of salt, half a tablespoon of citric acid, 1 tablespoon of sumac, and half a tablespoon of red pepper flakes, which is optional. This does add a little bit of a spice. And then we're also going to need 2 large onions or 3 medium onions. And now we're going to go ahead and make the mixture. First thing we're going to be doing is cutting the spinach into big pieces. You want to make sure that it's big pieces and not small pieces. And then we're going to be draining the liquid out of the spinach, and I'll show you when we do that. Okay, and after cutting up the spinach, you're just going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of salt to the spinach, and you're going to rub it in together and just kind of try to squeeze the water out like this. this is what the spinach should look like after rubbing it together, and now we're going to be squeezing the water out. And after rubbing the spinach together, you're just going to go ahead and squeeze the water out like this and just place it in a bowl. Okay, and this is what the spinach will look like after squeezing all the water out. Now, the spinach will decrease by a lot after rubbing it together and squeezing all the water out. So don't be surprised when you feel like you don't have a big amount of spinach left. This is how it's supposed to be. And after draining the spinach, now we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. So over here we have the 2 large onions. We went ahead and diced them, and you're just going to add that to the spinach. We're also going to add half a cup of olive oil, half a tablespoon of citric acid, 1 tablespoon of sumac, and half a tablespoon of red pepper flakes, which is optional. After adding all your ingredients, you're just going to mix everything in together very well. This is what the spinach mixture should look like once everything's mixed in. After making the spinach mixture in a separate tray, you're going to go ahead and drizzle a generous amount of olive oil and just spread it evenly. Then you're going to go ahead and sprinkle some flour on the surface area that you're going to be working on, and you're going to use your hands first to try to make a small circle like this with the dough, and then you're going to roll it out into a circle like this. Okay, so after rolling out the dough into a circle, you're going to go ahead and add the spinach stuffing in the middle, and then we're going to be folding in the sides. We're going to be making this into a triangle shape. So we're going to be folding in the sides and then folding in the bottom on top of the sides, and then we're going to be pressing it down a little bit. And then once you're done doing that, we're going to be placing this on to the tray that we spread the olive oil on. And another way that you could do this to make all your spinach pies the same size is once you roll it out, you can use a circular cutter. I'm going to be using a bowl just to cut out the dough into a circle and then stuff the spinach in the circle. Once your tray is full, you're just going to go ahead and rub a generous amount of olive oil on top of each spinach pie like this. And you're going to go ahead and bake them at 400 on the bottom rack until the bottom of the pie is a little golden. This is the color that it should be at the bottom once it's ready. And now you're going to go ahead and move it to the top rack, and we're going to broil it until it's a golden color. And this is how they should look after broiling for a few minutes. And now we're going to let them rest for about 10 minutes, and then they're ready to serve. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.